This is the state of Texas, and here in Texas we cannot get enough football. It's an illness that we have. We just need more and more of it. And the good news is that there's plenty more football coming to Texas, specifically AT&T Stadium. The International Bowl will be heading to AT&T Stadium. And here to talk about it is Aaron Ingram, Senior Manager of Football, player and coach personnel for USA Football. Mr. Ingram, appreciate your time.
No, thanks for having me anytime.
So first and foremost, let's kind of zoom out and let's talk a little bit about USA Football. Folks may not necessarily realize that the United States has a national football team. Can you kind of take us through a little bit of what exactly USA Football is?
Well, we are the national governing body of the sport. We're recognized by the IOC and the USOC as that, so that carries a little bit of weight when you talk about Olympic futures with sports and so forth like that. But we oversee football in the United States.
It's very exciting, and I know that obviously there's the national team of the older players, but then what the International Bowl is going to feature is some of the best and brightest young stars of football across the state of across the nation rather. Tell me a little bit about the International Bowl. How long has it been around, and what can folks expect to see?
Yeah, International Bowl, this year's our 10th year, so it shows some great staying power and some great growth. It's the world's largest football competition. This year we'll have 6 different countries come to compete versus 8 different U.S. teams. We have 2 teams per age group from U16 all the way up to U19. Ourselves and Canada, Japan, Panama, Mexico those are some of the popular names that everybody knows to come and compete every year. 2-week-long event that we'll have in Arlington, Texas.
And it's you mentioned that there's a number of different countries that are coming to play, but the steadying influence will be USA Football. There's going to be an American team in each of these 8 games. It's going down January 11th. That's a Thursday, and then January 18th. That's a Friday at AT&T Stadium in Arlington. I'm interested. I know this has been at AT&T Stadium for a while. Why is that such a good home? Why is the state of Texas in general such a good home for you guys for this event?
Well, anytime you can come to Texas, you say Texas football, and then if you add the word barbecue a lot of times, it's a great thing, right? But Texas and football go hand in hand. There's no better place to go. It's bigger, it's better, it's badder, if you want to say, for lack of better words, in Texas. But it's such a draw. That's what some of the international teams look for. They look to come, and they want to come, and they want to play the U.S. in the stage, in the biggest stage. And there's no better place than Jerry's World to do that.
We're talking with Aaron Ingram of USA Football here on Texas Football Today. Get involved with the conversation, #TF Today. So I'm sure people are who may be hearing this for the first time about USA Football are thinking, well, how in the heck do I make it onto a national team? I know that there is a lengthy process, and it's a commitment to make it onto these national teams. So can you kind of give me an overview of how these teams kind of got formed?
Yeah, definitely. We start every spring, and we do a U.S. tour. Last year we had 24 stops. This year we kind of narrowed it down to 18 cities, and we'll start that mid-March, and we go through a 2-day T-shirt and shorts process where they get 13 hours of practice in 2 days, which is great. That's a non-contact college-level coaching with current college coaches, as well as some of the top high school coaches in the country coming to coach for us to help evaluate and select these teams. And then from there, they're in our selection pool. We also do some stuff during the summer for middle school, where we don't feel they're ready for international play just yet at 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, but we kind of start to develop that next pool, like you said, that next great crop of stars for us. So we do that. We actually come back to Texas in the summer, and we'll go to the Star in Frisco and have our middle school bowl series there, as well as in Canton at the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
I think folks are going to look at these games and say, okay, well, it's the United States versus a team from Mexico, or the United States versus a team from Panama, and they're going to say, U.S. is going to go and roll the ball out on the field and get a win. But I know I was at the International Bowl a couple of years ago, and I feel like, and I'm interested in if you agree, I feel like people may not recognize the quality of competition that's coming from internationally to AT&T Stadium to challenge these American boys.
That's very true. No one really understands it until you have to go live it. A lot of coaches have come and done the exact same thing. They show up and they think they're going to just roll the ball out. We're going to show them the USA on our chest, and they're going to lie down. And that's not the case. on the U18 level for our national team, we're 1-6 is our overall record right now versus Canada. Canada does an outstanding job at the U18 level of developing kids that have gone on to the CFL and into the NFL. So they have a great history there. Last year, Mexico came with, for the first time ever, with 2 teams and won one of those teams. Japan won last year. So there's some huge improvement going. We're looking back. We've kind of retooled a lot of things that we've done this year to come back and to make sure we come out with some wins this year.
Aaron Ingram of USA Football talking with us here on Texas Football Today. Okay, but people are going to look at, if you head to internationalbowl.com, you can see all the information about the event, and you can see all the information about the rosters. And I think people are going to notice, especially here in the state of Texas. I think inevitably they're going to go to the roster. They're going to do Command F, and they're going to search TX, looking for some Texas boys. And there's a fair amount of Texas flavor in this on these rosters.
There's a huge amount of it. Actually, well, our Dallas stop every year for our regionals, when we first stopped to start our selection pool, was always one of the most popular stops for us, and it's actually one of my favorites. I love to come to Dallas every year for our selection process.
So then, for these guys who have made the national team, and they've been working hard on this team for a long time. Obviously, they're working hard for their high school team as well. This is something they're doing on the side. Is this like the big reward for them? Is this like kind of the Super Bowl for these national teams to get this opportunity to play on this stage?
It is. It really is. I don't care how old you are, but then all of a sudden you get to represent your country. And like I said, walking into Jerry's World, that's my favorite thing to do on game day. Right before all the teams get there, I try to get there early in the morning, and I'm like a little kid still walking the field when I get to put on our game day outfit too as well. It's a huge honor.
Speaking of which, tell me a little bit about the coaching staffs. I mean, obviously there's, we pride ourselves here on having coaches, good coaches here in the state of Texas, but there are a lot of great coaches around the nation, and it seems like you guys have assembled a really, really talented crop of coaches who are going to have these guys ready for game time.
Correct. This year we have some great guys, a couple state champs from various states, to kind of help represent a couple current college guys as well, to come and spend some time with our guys for a week.
And I think one thing that's kind of worth mentioning here is, I think inevitably people think of these national teams and their first instinct may be, oh, well, I could go see some top prospects. I can go see some guys who are going to go play, big-time college football at the next level. And there are a handful of those guys. But at the same time, that's not necessarily the mission of USA Football. You guys aren't necessarily seeking out, the 5-star prospect. You're not going to pass them up, but at the same time, it seems like you look across these rosters, and it's just darn good football players. And in a lot of cases, in my experience when I was at the International Bowl a couple of years ago, it seemed like a lot of these guys are the diamonds in the rough who maybe are getting a little bit overlooked right now.
We're pretty proud of that. We're proud about being able to develop kids as well. Our U18 team is one of our favorite teams this year. This group of kids has been with us since I've came on board and is coming through the pipeline, and we've developed them. And, 43 out of 50 of them have Power 5 offers now. So we're really, really proud of that team, the way that team's developed since they were in 8th grade all the way up through it. We try to continue in that same mission with every group of kids we have. So I think even on our U17 teams and our U16 teams, you're going to see some names in a couple of years that have been with us that have gone through the pike and have been developed really, really well, and then have gone on to some great high school and college careers.
You guys, you mentioned a little bit of the putting on the jersey and putting on the the USA outfit, the uniform. Do you get the feeling in talking to the players that means something? Obviously, you want to suit up for your high school, and obviously, all of those things. But do you get the feeling that these guys, when they put on that uniform that says USA, that they understand kind of what they're representing there?
I think it takes a day or two for it always. I always tell them when we have check-in and we go through our orientation that they don't know the magnitude of what they're doing until it's over. And that happens always. As soon as the event's always over, my phone goes crazy with the emails and the calls and the thank yous. And you get parents who understand it because, we're older. But then all of a sudden the child understands it. The kid gets it. Then all of a sudden, where some of them get it sooner than later, usually by Wednesday of the week, of our week starting on Monday and Wednesday, they realize what they're doing and the magnitude of it.
It's the International Bowl. It's going on at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Thursday, January 11th, and then Friday, January 18th. You can see teams from Mexico, teams from Panama, teams from Canada, teams from all over the nation, or rather all over the world, coming in and taking on the best and brightest from Team USA. And so, if folks want to come out to the game, or maybe they're watching us from far away, they can't. I understand these games are going to be. You can watch these games, right?
Correct. ESPN3 will stream all of our games, as well as, if not, if they're local and live, you can go to internationalbowl.com. $25 a day gets you all 4 games.
That's a pretty good deal. And I know from my personal experience, when I was there a couple of years ago, I was really, really impressed, not only with the event and the ability to go in there and sit there and kind of nerd out on football for 4 days or for 4 games, but also I think people are going to realize they're going to go in and not to keep beating a dead horse, but they're going to go in and realize that this is the quality of play that you're going to see on the field is really, really impressive.
Yes, it is. We tell everybody we're the best kept secret in the country.
It really is. It's the International Bowl. It's going on at AT&T Stadium January 11th and January 18th. Internationalbowl.com for all the information. Aaron Ingram of USA Football joining us. Aaron, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for spending a little bit of time and explaining this to our viewers, and best of luck when you get to Arlington.
Great. Thanks so much. We're excited to come back. I'm polishing up my boots as we speak.